What's up, everybody? Welcome back to RacingDudes.com, and let's put a bow on the Breeders' Cup for this video. Let's do the top 5 biggest flops or disappointments, however you want to talk about it, of the 2024 Breeders' Cup. I thought there were a lot, unfortunately, to choose from here with this one. We did see some great performances. We'll do another video about that, but we do have to kind of point out some of the horses we thought would run a lot better that just simply flopped. So let's get going with the video. I'll pull the charts up as I talk about it. And I think you have to say at number 5 is Ecoro Sieg. And we'll start at Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. Ecoro Sieg bet down to favoritism, was 5-2. And it wasn't that the horse lost. It was the horse lost and was never even an impact in the race. If you weren't looking for him, you never would have really seen him. He parked in 8th and just kind of ran in place after that. Never made any kind of move whatsoever. He was in 8th early. He was in 8th across the wire. So just kind of ran in place. When you look at it, as you look at the 2 days, the turf was playing perfect for where he was sitting. So perfect that the horse that was in 9th right behind him, yeah, he went on to win the race, talking about Magnum Force. So Ecoro Sieg, number 5 on the list. I thought this was an extremely disappointing race from him. And again, no real excuse, other than, what we could speculate on. He didn't like the surface, or he wasn't happy where he was at in the race, whatever. But as far as excuses, he really doesn't have any. So the next 2 horses we'll talk about kind of do have excuses. I thought the biggest flop, the 4th biggest flop of the weekend was Chancer McPatrick. I just thought you just didn't hear from him really. He was a 6th place finisher, in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. And now at one point, or one way to look at it, there was no pace in the race. Chancer McPatrick was never winning this race ever, because when you let 2 Bob Baffert horses and for that matter, really 3 Bob Baffert horses just kind of walk all the way around the track, it's going to be hard to make up ground. So there's that aspect of it, and I totally get it. And so I would not be expecting Chancer McPatrick to ever win this race with that pace setup. However, he ran 6th, and the 3rd place finisher, Hill Road, came from 10th and closed up and got 3rd. So why couldn't Chancer McPatrick have closed a little better than he did if Hill Road could have done it? I think that's where kind of my problem goes with Chancer McPatrick. And you see here, he didn't really make any sort of run. He was 7th, he was 9th, he was 7th, he was 8th. I guess he did make a little bit of a run to close up to get 6th. So he has a huge excuse for not winning the race. Again, I understand pace dynamics. I understand, unfortunately, he's a horse that's just going to be towards the back, and we're going to see that a lot, and he's going to kind of be up against it a little bit when it comes to that. However, I thought he still should have made a little bit more of a run, a little bit more ground up for him. So he was a little bit disappointing for me. Number 3 on the list is East Avenue, and this is for him and really for Chancer McPatrick as well. You can kind of draw a line through it as far as pace goes, but for East Avenue, you can really draw a line through this one. He's a huge disappointment, but it's not really his fault. He pretty much fell to the ground. His nose touched the ground out of the gate. He got off to a horrible start. He ends up being last out of the gate, and the race was over for him right when it started. So that was extremely disappointing. Not particularly his fault. Got a bad break there and just bad luck. But still, for what I was expecting and to what we got, it is extremely disappointing to see this horse finish 9th, getting beat 13 1/4. And again, I understand he had the excuse, but still, at the end of the day, you sit back and go, man, what a flop that was. What a disappointment that was. As far as handicapping him going forward, like I said, you just draw a line through it. It's not that big a deal. I'm not holding it against him. I'm not saying, oh, he wasn't what we thought he was. I'm just saying that was just a kind of a non-effort, and that is extremely disappointing out of him. So number 3 on the list, East Avenue. We'll see if he can bounce back, guys. Hopefully he can. Hopefully he didn't get hurt. You worry about that. I haven't heard any reports yet, but you do worry, that a horse that kind of breaks like that, maybe he got hurt, maybe something happened. Hopefully not. So we'll keep our fingers crossed there. Number 2 on the list comes out of the Breeders' Cup Classic, and it's City of Troy. And look, there's no way around it. This was a huge disappointment based on the hype, based on everything we had heard about the horse. Just never kind of he didn't fall to the ground or his nose hit the ground like East Avenue, but you kind of knew 2 jumps out of the gate. Well, City of Troy's screwed. He finishes 8th in the Breeders' Cup Classic. He breaks. They had said, we're going to send him. He's 12th up the backside. So, he's struggling with the track. I mean, you can tell he's not grabbing a hold. He's not grabbing a hold of the track very well. And he just spun his wheels the whole time. And like I said, ends up finishing 8th, gets beat 12 3/4. A lot of hype on this horse. I had said leading up to it and in the video, it's a kind of a 50-50 proposition with him if he'll handle it or not. He did not handle it. I didn't think he got away from the gate all that well. I just think when they asked him to kind of get up there where I would imagine they wanted him to be, he just couldn't do it. Like he just was not grabbing a hold of the track. And another, even to further, validate the point of he didn't handle anything well with the wicked pace. I mean, the winner of the race was Sierra Leone, right? And I mean, they were back there together at one point. So even if City of Troy gets out of the gate poorly, doesn't get the positioning they want, it's set up for a closer to go win, and he still didn't do any running whatsoever. So City of Troy, a major disappointment, a major flop at this Breeders' Cup. But as much as it pains me to admit it, and as much it pains me to talk about it now because he is my favorite horse in training, I do think the number one flop of the Breeders' Cup, unfortunately, it has to be Cogburn. Bet down to 4-5 favoritism. He finishes 5th in the turf sprint. A few things here. Number one, like some of the horses I was really worried about, Cogburn actually beat. Bradsell went up and tried to challenge him early. He totally quit. I was worried about Big Evs. He really didn't do a whole lot in the race, but some of the other ones were able to beat him. Obviously, 4 other ones were able to beat him. He absolutely cooked through a opening quarter of 21.59 and then the opening half of 43.72. So that's kind of a lot of people are going to look at that and go, well, that's what cooked him. But honestly, I get that anytime you're out there and you're, what was he ahead? Let's see. Anytime you're out there, let me see, and you're 3 lengths ahead and you're cooking that kind of fraction, I think people are going to automatically say, well, why did you do that? You didn't have to go that fast. I thought turning for home, he was going to mow him down, or not mow him down. He was going to run away from them, is a better way to say it. I get the criticism of the ride, but when you turn for home, you've been loose on the lead. You're going 5 furlongs. You're a horse like Cogburn that's proven he can go fast and still go in the stretch. I just kind of felt like, yeah, maybe he could have went a little bit slower, but maybe Cogburn could have ran a little bit better as well. So I think it's equal faults, if not Cogburn's fault, a little bit more, just me being completely honest. And look, this is coming from his number one fan. I want to blame anybody but the horse, right? But I don't know. I'm not enraged like a lot of people about the ride on that IRAD gave. Again, hindsight's always 20/20, and you can always look back, and anytime a 4-5 favorite gets beat, you want to find out why. I just don't think he fired quite his best. The other thing that may have hurt him, the track at Del Mar, the turf really did play to closers most of the weekend, if not all weekend. So that could have been a factor of it, right? Maybe that just speed just didn't hold, and he was certainly going fast, and he just couldn't hold it. So it could be a little bit of that as well. But whatever the reasoning, whoever you want to blame, that's your opinion, and you're entitled to it, and go ahead and do whatever. But the bottom line of it was a major flop in the Breeders' Cup here for Cogburn, a horse that I think a lot of us thought would put on a show. I think a lot of us, if we were kind of worried about what kind of trip he would get, but boy, I don't think it could have went any better. He kind of looked like Golden Powell turning for home when he won the sprint out there, the turf sprint out there at Del Mar. And then all of a sudden he didn't. So Cogburn, biggest flop for me. Hate it. He's my favorite horse in trading, and I have to talk about how he flopped. But listen, it's my job. You got to be honest. He flops, no doubt about it. So to review it here, number 5 on the list was Ecoro Sieg. Number 4 was McPatrick. Number 3, East Avenue. Number 2, City of Troy. And number 1 was Cogburn. All right, guys, that'll do it for this video. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Hit that like button if you like it. Hit subscribe if you really like it. Want to get alerted anytime we do videos like this. And most importantly, stay tuned to the channel. Just because the Breeders' Cup's over, that does not mean we disappear. We are here 365 days a year. We cover horse racing year round. So if you're new to the channel, stick with us. We'll be here all throughout, well, every single day, because that's what we do. All right, guys, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time.